The Ashwick Manor affair. When Miss Lillian Vale arrived at Ashwick Manor, the air was thick with rain and secrets. The carriage wheels dragged through the sodden gravel drive, each turn a reminder of how far she'd come from the crowded parlor rooms of London to this brooding country estate nestled deep in the moors. Ashwick was vast but choked in ivy and shadows. Its towers pierced the grey sky like broken fingers. A single candle burned in the upper west wing window, as though someone had been waiting. Lillian had not been invited. Not precisely. The letter she'd received was unsigned, marked only with the estate's seal, 3 crows and a cross, an emblem she hadn't seen since childhood. It was the seal of her late uncle, Lord Edwin Ashwick, who had died nearly 20 years before under mysterious circumstances. His death had been ruled a heart failure, but whispers of something more sinister had followed the family ever since. The manor was said to be uninhabited, yet the letter summoned her with urgency. Return to Ashwick. The truth remains buried beneath the east wing floor. As she stepped from the carriage, a woman in a black shawl emerged from the shadows of the portico. Her eyes were sharp, her face deeply lined. "You are Miss Vale," she said flatly. "Yes. And you are?" "Mrs. Tallow, housekeeper." "I didn't know anyone still lived here." Mrs. Tallow's gaze didn't falter. "Not many do. Come inside." The interior of Ashwick was a study in neglect. Dust blanketed the furniture, paint peeled from the walls like curling skin. Yet beneath the decay the grandeur remained. Marble archways, oil portraits with cracked varnish, chandeliers dangling like frozen ghosts. "You'll sleep in the west wing," said Mrs. Tallow, her voice muffled by the high ceilings. "The east is sealed. Been that way since Lord Edwin's passing." Lillian turned to her. "Sealed? Why?" "They say it's cursed." The housekeeper's lips thinned. "But I don't believe in curses. Only in guilt." That night, Lillian dreamed of tapping beneath the floorboards, faint like fingers drumming wood. She awoke to silence, yet the memory of the sound lingered. So did the cold. By morning, she was determined to find out what had truly happened all those years ago. She started in the library where the fire hadn't been lit in decades. Books lay untouched, their leather spines crumbling. Among them she found Lord Edwin's journals, brittle pages filled with neat script. Most entries were mundane, weather, estate accounts, garden notes, but one stood out, dated just 2 days before his death. "There is a child in the walls." Lillian stared at the line, its meaning unclear. Was it a metaphor? A hallucination? She took the journal with her to breakfast, where Mrs. Tallow stood silently by the sideboard, as if waiting for questions. "Did Lord Edwin have any children?" Lillian asked casually. "No legitimate heirs," Mrs. Tallow replied, "but there were rumors. Of a servant girl who disappeared, of strange cries in the night. He was not a kind man." "Do you believe he was murdered?" Mrs. Tallow's spoon paused in her teacup. "I believe some truths are buried to protect those who matter." That day, Lillian explored the manor, pressing her ear to doors and floorboards. In the east wing hallway, barred by a rusted iron gate, she felt the air shift, cold, heavy, as if something on the other side of the wall had exhaled. Later, in the attic, she found an old nursery, toys scattered on the floor, a cracked cradle, dusty drawings taped to the wall, stick figures and crooked houses. But one drawing caught her breath. It showed the manor, and beneath it, a figure drawn in black, lying beneath the floor. Red crayon dripped from its side like blood. Her hand trembled. That night the tapping returned, but it wasn't in her dreams. It echoed through the walls. She followed the sound down the corridor to the east wing gate. There it was again. Tap, tap, then a faint, scraping whisper. "Let me out." Lillian recoiled. Her breath fogged the air. The next morning, Mrs. Tallow found her in the hallway, staring at the gate. "You heard it, didn't you?" the housekeeper said softly. Lillian turned. "There's someone in there." "There was," Mrs. Tallow murmured. "Long ago." "Tell me the truth." The housekeeper sighed, then motioned her to the parlor, where she lit a small fire and poured 2 cups of tea. 20 years ago, Lord Edwin took in a maid, Alice, young, no family. She became pregnant. His child? It was never said aloud, but we all knew. When the baby came, it was hidden, kept in the east wing. No name, no visitors. Only Edwin and Alice were allowed inside. Lillian's throat tightened. And then? One day Alice vanished. We were told she ran off. The baby was never seen again. A week later, Edwin was found dead in the East Wing library, collapsed beside the hearth. No one asked questions. The family doctor signed the certificate. The East Wing was sealed. Who sealed it? Mrs. Tallow's gaze dropped. I did, by order of the family solicitor, to avoid scandal. Lillian stood. There may still be someone trapped inside. No, said Mrs. Tallow firmly. No one could have survived this long. But that night the tapping returned, and this time it wasn't alone. Lillian woke to a child's laughter, high and soft, echoing through the corridor. She rushed to the gate. The air beyond was swirling with mist, impossible in the still manor. And in the dim light she saw footprints, small, bare, leading down the east wing hall. The gate creaked open on its own. Heart pounding, Lillian stepped inside. The corridor was colder than she could bear. The walls seemed to weep with condensation. Doors lined the passage, each one closed, until the last. It was ajar. Inside was a library, ruined and mold-stained, and beside the hearth a dark stain on the floor, the place where Edwin died. A soft cry broke the silence. She turned. In the far corner sat a child, pale, curled up, face hidden behind long hair. "Hello?" Lillian whispered. "Are you hurt?" The child didn't move. She knelt slowly. "It's all right. I'm not going to hurt you." The child raised its head. No eyes. Only empty, hollow sockets. Lillian screamed. The air imploded. Shadows spilled from the corners, swirling in shapes too fast to follow. The child vanished, and in its place a voice. Low, mournful. "Justice was never done." Lillian stumbled backward out of the room, slamming the door shut. She didn't stop running until she reached her chamber. That night the manor groaned like a ship in storm. Paintings fell from the walls. The chandelier in the great hall crashed to the floor. And when morning came, Mrs. Tallow was gone. Vanished. No trace but her shawl folded neatly on the parlor chair. Lillian was alone. She returned to the east wing, this time with a lantern and her uncle's journal in hand. She retraced her steps to the library and found a loose board beneath the hearth. It lifted easily. Beneath it, a box. Old, iron-latched. Inside were bones, small, fragile, along with a silver locket containing Alice's portrait and a letter stained with time. It was from Alice, dated days before her disappearance. "If I vanish, know it was not by choice. Edwin is not the man he pretends to be. He keeps us here, hidden until the scandal passes. My child is innocent. He is afraid of what the world will say. But I fear he has decided to silence us. If we are gone, find the East Wing. Let the truth be known. Let justice speak from the floorboards." Lillian's hands trembled. She placed the letter beside the bones. The air shifted, and the child appeared again. Not in flesh, but in light. A shimmer, a presence. No fear this time, just sadness. He reached for the locket, touched it, then faded. The tapping stopped. The manor quieted. Weeks later, Lillian oversaw the proper burial of Alice and her child in the village cemetery. She placed the letter and locket in their coffin, letting their story finally rest. Ashwick Manor was left to her by distant relation. She did not sell it. She did not live in it either. But she opened it once a year on the anniversary of Lord Edwin's death and lit a candle in the east wing window. And each year, as the candle flickered in the misty dusk, those who passed on the moor swore they saw a small figure watching from the library, not vengeful, just waiting to be remembered.